We've got a Fox News panel right now. Fox News contributor Lisa Booth, former financial intel analyst for the Treasury Department and former State Department press officer Morgan Ortagus, and former communications director for Governor Tim Kaine, and founding partner of 270 Strategies, Linda Tran. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning.
All right. So, Lisa, let's start with you. Donald Trump tweeted out about a half an hour ago, big day, looking forward to the crowds and whatnot. Should he continue tweeting?
He should, because this is how he was able to win. I mean, this is what he did during the primary. You got to think of the fact that Hillary Clinton, and also his primary opponents for that matter, Hillary Clinton and her allies spent more than double than he did and his allies during the general election. And part of the reason why he was able to win was because he was able to bypass the media. We also know that 91% of the coverage that he received
By the way,
was
Lisa,
negative.
Right now,
we just want to inform everybody this is live, and you're watching the Vice President-elect of the United States for a few more hours. Make his way for what is going to be his eventual swearing in. But first, it's going to be a visit to St. John's Episcopal Church.
Right. This is something that they do every single inauguration. There he is meeting the pastor. It is just a short hop from the Blair House where the Trumps have spent the overnight hours, and we should be seeing them very shortly. All right. So, and that's Blair House right there. As soon as there's some activity. I tell you what, let's split the screen and we'll continue to watch to see the president-elect coming out in just a minute or so.
Yeah, in the meantime, Linda, we'll go to you. We were talking about him tweeting. He's known for this off-the-cuff personality and just saying whatever's on his mind. Yesterday, he was talking to a group, and he looks down and he sees Kellyanne Conway, and he says, "Kellyanne, come on up." And he starts talking about her and praising her. Do you like that style? You think it's going to bode well for him?
You know, I think one of the things we try to get people to do if they're going to use social media is to be authentic. And one thing you can say about Donald Trump is he's totally authentic when it comes to tweeting in particular. The challenge is recent polls have shown that most Americans actually think he tweets too much.
By a 2-to-1 margin.
Right, so there's probably a balance that he needs to consider, especially as he's moving ahead. The other thing is, if you're in his caucus and you're trying to think about the first 100 days, you're trying to think about what kind of policies you want to move, whether it's, you know, repealing ACA or whatnot, you're a little bit uncomfortable because you never know what it is he's going to say. And the truth is it has an impact on policy and on the economy.
But alternatively, he could use that social media to move forward some of his policy initiatives, because he has a large voice with the Twitter following that he has, and that's really how he was able to get his voice out, get his message across, bypass the media in doing so. So it could also help him in trying to move forward some of his big policy
initiatives. And remember, he takes on his own party often. If he doesn't like the speaker's tax plan,
both sides are probably going to hear from him.
Fill in the blank. Now, Morgan, we oftentimes in America try to get the opposite of what we just had. So we had a president who was extremely composed and very scripted. We always talked about the teleprompter, especially the first 4 years. Now you have somebody that had to be convinced to use one. America's speaking out again, aren't they?
Well, listen, I think that there is a lot of women, a lot of us have tried to change our men, and we haven't been able to. So, and I think there's a lot of people over the past year and a half that have tried to change Donald Trump, and you know, thank God that they didn't, because it clearly worked for him. This is the model and mechanism speaking directly to the people, and I think what we sometimes miss in all of this is that this was not. We had a change election 8 years ago with Barack Obama, right? The country wanted change. This was so much more than the change election. This was we're rejecting both parties' election. They rejected the Republican candidates in our primary election, and then of course they rejected the status quo in the general. And I think so that this is not just a normal change election. This is a completely burn the house down, build something new, start over.
Right.
Everybody gets
I'm glad you said this is new. As we look live, continue on the right side of your screen, Blair House, President-elect Donald Trump's going to come out in just a moment or two and then take a short little limo about a block to St. John's. Lisa, because we are in uncharted territory, you know, this is like nobody we've seen during our lifetimes. He's not a career politician. He's a business guy who wants to put the stuff he learned building buildings and developing real estate to work for the people of the country.
Absolutely. I actually had an Uber driver last night, and we were talking about this, and she said, or Lyft driver rather, and she had said that she was a lifelong Democrat, and she was just entirely sick of both parties. She didn't like the fact that Hillary Clinton was sort of presenting terms and the fact if you're a woman, you have to vote for me. She wanted someone that was actually going to get things done, someone that was going to look past political ideology. And to Morgan's earlier point, I think that's what a lot of Americans wanted, is they wanted someone, as Steve was saying, someone who ran as a builder, someone who ran as fixing things, who's going to get the deals done, who's going to make America strong again, make America great again, particularly in terms of the economy.
Linda, I'm just wondering, from your perspective, being that you work with Tim Kaine, and many people thought he was going to be the vice president, like this was going to be his day. When Donald Trump starts making these victories and getting these positive remarks from the CEOs and saying, I'm going to add jobs, I'm going to stick around, Apple's thinking about bringing manufacturing here, I felt as though it was underplayed in print, online, and on the major networks. Do you think that there's something to that?
Well, I think that when we move forward, there's going to be a question about what sort of accomplishments he posts. I mean, you have to remember, he's inheriting an economy that is much stronger than it was when Barack Obama took office, when we were losing 800,000 jobs a month, when unemployment was near 10%, and now we're under 5%. So he's getting a stronger nation than he might otherwise have. And the question is, can he build on it? And can he build on it in a way that makes people feel like he's their president, not just one
But is there a sense that maybe no matter what he does, certain people will not acknowledge it?
I don't think so. I really don't. I take Democrats in particular at their word when they say if he's going to put forth policies that Democrats feel like are in line with their values, in line with moving the country forward, then they'll work with him.
Well, yeah, but Linda, what about those 70 Democrats who say, you know what, forget about unity, I'm not showing up today. They look like sore losers.
Well, you know, I'm not one of those people.
I know you're a Democrat. It's hard for you to call them sore losers. But looking in, this is a day of unity. If you want to bicker, start tomorrow. But everybody should be back there. If there were people who boycotted 4 or 8 years ago Barack Obama's inauguration, people would say, "Oh, those people are racist," even though it may have been in their hearts. I don't, I don't feel the same way.
Yeah, but you said it yourself. This is a different kind of president. He has been talking to the people in a different kind of way.
But he's still the president.
Absolutely.
He deserves
and today
the
should
respect.
be, I will say, today should be about the peaceful transfer of power.
Right.
And it typically is. But he did also start off a week ago bashing John Lewis, which I think made people feel uncomfortable in a way
Lewis
that.
also said that he wasn't a legitimate president. So, I mean, you can't really blame the president, the soon-to-be president as of today, for getting offended by the fact you have an individual, a sitting member of Congress, blatantly saying that he is not a legitimate president. That is absolutely wrong. We should be fully respectful of the things that John Lewis has done in his life. Obviously, an incredible man in that respect, and civil rights respect. But that doesn't mean that he didn't do something that was wrong. And
It's not that he
definitely in the wrong with
responded.
that comment.
It's not the fact that he was offended. It's the fact that he responded. I mean, there have been lots of cases, especially in the last
to defend himself.
Sure, but should he do it on Twitter? Should he attack a civil rights icon by saying he's all talk and
That doesn't
no
mean that
action?
he.
Those are the old rules.
Yeah.
Everything's new as of
Morgan,
noon.
let's hear from you.
I was
Apparently.
just going to say, as you were reporting earlier, the Secret Service has given him a new phone that's encrypted. And so what I'm curious is, did they load Twitter onto the phone?
Kellyanne said that he definitely will be able to tweet from that new phone that he has.
So,
Will there be an app
question
store?
answered.
He wants to know there's going to be an app store.
I wanted to ask you, too, really quickly, because you work for Tim Kaine. Laura Ingraham was on our show a few days ago, and she was saying that she is considering a run for Senate in that state.
Well, I think she's going to have a tough hill to climb because the reality is Virginia is Tim Kaine country. People are very, very supportive of him. He did a great job when he was governor. Obviously, I'm biased. I was on his team at the time. But I think that that's going to be a really big, tough race for her if she decides to get in it.
Let's talk about something we could all agree on. It's been amazing to hear from the entire Trump team and, for the most part, the Obama team about how well both administrations have gotten along and how they said they just can't say enough great things about how they're helping the transition.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. I mean, that's what we should want. And George W. Bush
And by the way,
showed President Obama. Oh, there you go.
Hold on.
Donald
Trump
is now
leaving the
walking.
Blair House.
Yep, there he is.
Melania behind him.
Indeed.
And they are walking over to St. John's Church. The prayer service was supposed to start at 8:30. It is 8:33.